Hey there, crafters and dreamers. It's John Hollywood Hogg here, your favourite BAFTA and RTS winning director. And I thought I'd come and talk to you today to give you another episode of Screencraft. I'm sorry I'm not in my usual location. I'm away doing prep for my next job at the moment, but I thought I'd grab a few moments to tell you guys answer some questions that I keep getting asked frequently. So, one question I get asked all the time is, how do I write script? So the easy answer is you need to sit for hours on end thinking, and eventually an idea might come like this.
We got one!
So you've got your idea, marvellous. So let's say we have an idea about faking the moon landing, being a big conspiracy. So it's brilliant. So you have an A strand, you have your story, that is your story. But within that story, you need to have little stories all pieced together to make the journey whole. So it's no good just saying, oh, I've got this guy who's going to fake the moon landing. You've got to work out how he's going to fake the moon landing, how it's going to affect his life, how it's going to affect the life of the characters around him, and you have to build the world around them. So what we did, when we start a show, normally we'll go in like a writer's room. So there'll be like all the writers together. And what we'll do is we'll get a blank wall and we'll write all our ideas down on post-it notes, what we want our character to do. So say if we're doing a moon landing conspiracy, so we need to start off with why it's a conspiracy first off. So we'll put a post-it note there and say it's a conspiracy because let's go back to the old-fashioned way, like USA need to beat USSR to the moon. So we start off with that. Then we start building on why can't they do it originally and the problems they create. Then we create this big line of post-it notes that chart our journey. Then we'll go through it. Then we'll start picking post-it notes off that we don't really need, which don't give us a clear linear storyline. But having an A storyline isn't enough. You need backup.
It's the rebels.
So, backup is here. You need a B strand and probably a C strand, because if you watch a movie, every movie has these strands, because generally just one single A story can't carry the full thing. I just watched Meet Joe Black for some bizarre reason recently, and the A storyline is obviously death, learning from Anthony Hopkins, but the B story strand is this ridiculous love story in it that kind of ruins the whole film. So, and there's a third strand of the geeky fella trying to take over Anthony Hopkins' business. So you've got three storylines there. So now you've got your wall with the A storyline. You've got to do the same for the B and C storyline and kind of tie them all together, have them all intermingling together for it all to make sense. Right. So now, say if you've got your A, B and C story all tied together, you've got your story. So you put it into a document, which is known in the industry as a treatment, which is basically maybe 2 or 3 pages simply outlining your story and the characters. That's all it is. It's not a script, it's a story. So you've got your story. What do you do with it now? This is the hardest part of the process. Now, you can't send it directly off to a production company because 99% of production companies won't accept what they call unsolicited material. They will only accept material that's come through an agent, so another pair of eyes have looked at it and make sure it's all right. So you have to get an agent. This is the hardest part in any the hardest part in our industry is trying to get an agent, effectively. And it took me a while to get an agent. It was not until I got some form of award recognition that an agent was interested in me. So basically what you need to do is you need to create a body of work, only a small body of work possibly, and send these out to it and say, look, I'm interested in being a writer. This is my work. Could you have a look at it? And don't say you want to be represented. Say you'd like to ask for some advice on how you might be able to get represented, but never directly ask for it. Always ask for advice. That's the best bit of advice I can give you. Always ask for advice. People will always give it to you. So, let's say everything's gone swimmingly, and an agent said, "Oh, I love this. Love your writing. This treatment's really good." What I'll do is I'll send it out. Now, what the agent means by that, the agent will send it out to all the production companies he knows, or what they think would be a nice fit for the treatment. It might go to Disney, but it might not be something that works for Disney, so it might send it to Netflix, Amazon, Sky, or whatever. So that's what the agent does. He'll get the treatment out there, and hopefully someone will pick it up. A commissioner will look at it and think, "Oh, I really like this idea. I would like to have a chat with this writer." So then, what will happen? The production company will invite you in for a chat. And they talk about your love of writing and why you've always wanted to be a writer and whatnot, and your life story. And then they'll want to speak about your idea. And then they will have ideas for your project. Whether you think they're right or wrong, they will have ideas. And when they have these ideas, you might be sat there thinking, really, this isn't really what I thought. But until we get to the level of like Christopher Nolan, then we can't really be making our own stuff exactly as we want it. It's always more important to have other people's opinions that will own in our talent, if you like. They'll sharpen the story and make it more for an audience. So say if you're doing something about a 10-year-old kid, a production company might want to make it like a 15, 16-year-old kid, which doesn't sound too bad, but when you look into it and start pulling it apart, 10-year-olds and 15-year-olds are very different and have very different relationships with people, very different dynamics, and it might change the storytelling as a whole. So you have to kind of think about that, and as a writer, you have to kind of lean into all this stuff and be willing to change your stories and ideas to get it out there to begin with, which is fine. But what will happen then is, say if you have this meeting and the production company want to make these changes, and you think, yeah, that's good, that's fine, that'll make it better. So you go away and you'll do another draft. Production company, yeah, we'll love it, let's do it. So now it's done. Now they'll go to a channel. They'll want you to go to a channel with them. So say if like Sky love the treatment, what they'll do then is they'll give the production company money for you to write a script. So they'll give you some money and say, go away and write the script. So you write it and you come back to the production company and you think, yeah, this is good, but they'll send you another round of notes. So you'll have to do the round of notes again. Then you send that back. Then they'll send that to the channel. And the channel look at it. Then they'll have their round of notes, which will change it again. It'll all make it better. It'll all make it sharper and pointed, which is good, which is what you want. So then we've done that round of notes. They will say, this is great. Let's go to production. Then you'll go to production, and a producer will probably come on board at that point, maybe a director. Now the producer and director will have their notes on your idea as well. We're getting further down the totem pole now, so the director's notes aren't necessarily notes you'd probably have to address, but it's probably wise to address the exec notes and the producer notes. So you get that done. Then eventually, when all that's done, it gets greenlit for production. Your idea will finally come into fruition as a project and come out on TV. Now, I've told you this in a very concise way, but this process that I've told you about probably goes on for a minimum of about 2 or 3 years, minimum. Normally they're about 5 to 10. I've been working on one for 7 years, and it's still not greenlit, but I've been working on it for a while. But it's keep pushing, keep trying, and it'll get there eventually. The hardest hurdle to get over is having that initial idea, really. Once you've got that idea, you're laughing. So, just remember, guys, James Dean Cole, John Wayne Tough. See you soon. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. More Screencraft coming soon. Hollywood Hog signing off.